So I'm reading my Bible this morning and I'm going through Luke chapter 12, where it's verses 22 through 34. And I think that this section is something that we all should note. It's the section is just titled "Do Not Worry." And essentially, Jesus is talking to the disciples about how we do not need to worry about the day to day things. We don't need to worry about what we're eating, what we're wearing, what what money we're going to be making. And I think that that's a great reminder for all of us. Verses 29 through 31, he says, "And do not set your heart on what you will eat or drink. Do not worry about it. For the pagan world runs after all such things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well." And I think that this is something that, as we go through our lives, that we should always keep in our minds, in the forefront of our minds, just that we will, God will provide for us, and he'll make sure that all of our needs are taken care of in a greater way than we can ever imagine. But we need to be seeking his kingdom first. And this isn't to say that you should seek his kingdom so you are provided for, because God knows your heart posture better than you do. He knows your true intentions. But if you're truthfully, with all of your heart, seeking the kingdom of God, then he will provide for you. And I think that this is something that I have to remind myself of, because I get caught up in worrying about, am I doing enough? Am I on the right track right now? Am I really doing the things that are going to make me successful in this life? And I think that that's something that this world makes us consumed by, and that we constantly get absorbed by, because this world is so materialistic. And I think that it's just a constant reminder just that these things don't matter in the grand scheme of it all, and that the things that really matter is us seeking the kingdom of God, and playing our role in that kingdom, which is individualistic for each of us. And I have one of the explanation Bibles, and at the bottom it had something that I found really profound. It just says, "Notice that Jesus was concerned not so much with how much wealth we possess, but how much our wealth possesses us. True freedom and contentment cannot be found in the things we own. These gifts are freely given to us as we humbly turn to God for our gracious help." I think that that sentence, just that God doesn't care how much wealth we possess, but how much our wealth possesses us, it's just what really drives home the point for me, because once again, this world tries to call us to be absorbed by materialism, being absorbed by things. I think just that we have to remember that that's not what God cares about, and that's not what matters. We're not going to find freedom in that. I'm sure you've heard the stories of the billionaires being the most unhappy people in the world. So some of the people with the most material things are the most unhappy people in the world. So I think that it's just a great reminder for me right now, just that I don't need to worry about the wealth I'm creating. I don't need to worry about if I'm doing enough. But what I really need to focus on is just always constantly running to God and just having my heart posture in the right way. So, back here in Knack, out on our little porch area, and just spending some time in the Word, because it's something I feel like I've fallen away from since I've been home. And I think keeping up the habits that I've built are extremely important. So, yeah. So, when I come home, I get to spend time with all my different family members, get to see obviously my parents, and also get to see my grandparents, as well as other people that I've always been close with since I was born. And one of the cool parts about that is that I get to
get knowledge from other people and advice from them for me on my journey. And I think that one of my favorite parts about coming home is my grandfather. He is a very wisdom filled man, very faith driven man, and I've always respected him about that. But every time I come home, he intentionally sits me down and shares some of his knowledge, shares some of his wisdom with me. And so today he did that, and one of the things that he discussed with me was time management. So he actually went to school for management, has a master's in management, and taught management as a professor for, I think he said 20 years. I could be wrong, so Papal, if you see this, sorry if I got the numbers wrong. But the point is, he's very knowledgeable in business management, but also other forms of management. And so, one thing that he sat me down this time about was time management. He noticed in one of my videos that I had said something about how I feel like I have so much to do, but I'm not sure what to prioritize and not sure what order to do it. And so he sat me down and explained to me about the 12-hour day. It can be 10, it can be 8, whatever, but the basis that we went off of is the 12-hour day. And so essentially you can see on this piece of paper, let me get it to focus on the paper, he wrote down all of the different ways to spend my day. And so essentially what he told me to do is to have a time management of a 12-hour day. So, for instance, wake up from 6 to 7, Bible study every single day, non negotiable. 7 to 9, work on client work. And you want to be specific with what you're working on. So, for me, it would be working on client accounts. So, doing bookkeeping, doing payroll, doing tax strategy, planning for my clients from 7 to 9 every single day, non negotiable. And then from 9 to 12 can be for content. So developing my different vlogs, developing my different long form content, short form content, carousels, all of that. And it could also be broken up into half the time for reaching out to clients, trying to gain new clients and getting potential clients in the books. And a key part of that is to have these blocks dedicated to each thing that every day is the same. You're not changing it day to day, and every day you're keeping it the same. And we'll get to how to review that and see if it's being effective later. But another thing that he emphasized to practice is to implement a small resting of the eyes. So basically getting away from the screen and going outside, getting some sunlight, or even an intentional rest where you just take a 10-15 minute quick nap to recharge the brain and get everything flowing again. uh, so then in this mock schedule that he made, then 12 to 1 lunch, 1 to 3 back to work, and so completing more tasks from the things that you did in the morning that have layered on, or finishing up tasks that you weren't able to finish in the morning sessions. 3 to 5, more cold calling and completing miscellaneous tasks from the earlier sessions as well. And so then this is a really crucial part, the 5 to 6 window. So review the day's work, and you want to look at what worked, what didn't work, and try to review what you did, where you fell short, what time blocks need more time, what time blocks need less time, things like that. Basically what you're doing is you're setting aside time to review the data from the day and see what needs to change for tomorrow and going forward. And also, while you're doing this, you're collecting your data of what happened today and seeing what you need to adjust for tomorrow and going forward. But you're also going to be preparing your schedule for the next day. So making those time blocks exactly the same as well, and adjusting in 15-minute increments or whatever you need to do, while also making a list of the things that you need to accomplish for the next day. And one thing that he really emphasized with me was, since everything's so digital now, to actually physically write down this list. So when you actually write it, you keep a record of what you're doing, and you keep a written record of what changes you're making and why you're doing them. This also helps by physically writing it, etching it into your brain, so that your brain can help be more in the mode of, okay, from 7 to 9, I know I'm working on these things every single day, and it builds up that repetition and that habit muscle. And another thing that he recommended was, in these time blocks, if change is necessary, do it tomorrow rather than today. And the reason for this is you want to be following your strict schedule and adjusting at the end of the day, because if you say something in your 7 to 9 work block needs an extra 20 minutes, if you go 7 to 9:30 to try and adjust for that, it throws off the rest of your schedule, and then you're all out of whack for the rest of the day. So yeah, that's just kind of a little scheduling trick that I had kind of known about, but didn't have a formal schedule of how I wanted to accomplish it. And I think that my grandfather laid out a great framework for that, and something that I can follow more to a T. So definitely awesome, and something I'll be doing. And yeah, every time I come home, it's one of my favorite things to get to sit down and talk with my papaw. Like I said, he's a man of so much wisdom, so much life, and he always is very intentional with sitting me down and talking to me, and it's one of my favorite things I get to do when I come home. So, papaw, if you see this, just know I love it, and I love getting to sit down and just hear your thoughts for me and your advice for me as a young man, and it means the world to me that you take the time out of your day to do that and take the time to prepare to do that for me. So yeah, great day. Me and my dad are cooking some steaks tonight, so just wanted to record this really quickly and you know share it with y'all so that y'all can implement it in your life and in your business. But I'll catch y'all a little later.
All right, so I just got done recording a bunch of content. Got my iPad here, doing some, as I draw my pencil, doing some iPad drawing type recordings, and this is something I needed to do because I needed to get a big bulk of content booked up for my editor because we're going to be trying to post 2 times a day now, so upping it a little bit, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But I'm confident that we'll be able to do it. And one thing that I've learned while I'm home is that when you take yourself out of your work environment, sometimes it can be harder to lock in, sometimes it can be a little bit more tough to accomplish the things that you would normally accomplish just because you're so used to being in one place and having so much consistency in the environment and everything like that. But I think that one thing I've learned while I've been home and been fortunate enough to be able to be home, which I love being here, but I don't always get as much work done as I would like. But I think that one thing that I've realized is just that you can't allow your environment to dictate your inputs and your outputs. I think that you need to learn as a business owner to have those independent of everything else. And so what I mean by that is you can't allow your you can't allow yourself when you're taken out of your work environment, whether it be your home office, your city, whatever it is for you, to fall back into old habits because you're in a different environment. So for me, for instance, I didn't used to work quite as hard. I didn't have quite as much drive when I lived in my hometown and in this place. I still worked hard in sports and everything, but I didn't have the same fire and passion that I have now. And so one thing that's been challenging for me is while I'm home to make sure I'm still accomplishing what I need to accomplish. And even things like recording for this vlog has been difficult. I haven't felt as motivated. I haven't felt disciplined. And, it even spills into other things like working out. I haven't been having good workouts and really even desiring to work out, which is very rare for me. And so I just want to encourage you as you watch this to never let your environment dictate who you are or what you do. Because if you do that, it ruins the discipline that you have, and it can set you back a whole week like it kind of has for me. Um, but with that, you should also always focus on being present with where you're at. So if you're going home, for instance, like I've been, You want to make sure that you're present with who you're with, because this is my first time home in 9 months. Who knows when the next time I'll be here is. So you just want to make sure that you're staying on top of things and creating the environment that you need. So for instance, right now it's pretty early in the morning is all I'll say. And I'm in here recording, getting things done, accomplishing the task that I've had set out that I needed to get done. And this is something that I've learned throughout the week, and it's been a learning experience for me, just that I need to set aside special time for work so that the rest of the time I'm here, I can focus on being with my family and doing the other things that are more important in life overall. So, TLDR of this spiel is, don't let your environment dictate your actions. Stay on the right track, be disciplined, and focus on what you need to focus on. So, it is currently Sunday evening, and it's currently Sunday evening, and it is the last night that I'm here in Nacogdoches with my family. So that means tomorrow we head back to Alabama and the grind gets real again. And I was just on a walk this evening after dinner, just thinking about the future, thinking about the past, thinking about where I was when I used to live here and how far I've come from there, but also thinking a lot about the future. And I was thinking about, in the coming months, years, whatever the timeline may end up being, how I'll be hiring people eventually. I'll be bringing people onto the team to help me grow this company that I'm building. And I was just thinking about how I'm going to market this company and how I'm going to hire and do the hiring process, and the philosophy that I'll want to have as the face, as the founder, as the leader of the company. And the more I thought about it, I was listening to a podcast, Diary of a CEO, with one of the founders of Netflix, and they discussed that you want to build the company in a way that you would want to work at the company. So I started thinking about what that would mean for me, and things that they discussed were unlimited vacation days, or it's okay to show up to meetings late, because that means that you were probably working to accomplish something else, to finish another task. And I started thinking about the culture that I would want to build, and I think those are types of things that I would want. I want people to come here, and I want them to feel the freedom. I want them to know that they have freedom, that yes, they're working with me on this dream that is mine, but it's also theirs. They have agency in the company. They have ownership in what they're doing, but they also have freedom to make their own choices. And I think that that's beautiful. And as the company continues to grow, as I hire the first 3 employees, 10 employees, up to 100, whatever the Lord puts on my heart to grow it to, I think that one thing that I want to always remember as the leader of the company is that the principles that I set forth need to maintain no matter how big the company gets. And if I have, say, 100 employees and 3 of them are taking advantage of the unlimited travel, unlimited vacation days, I don't need to punish the 97 for the actions of the 3, but rather I need to set an example that the 3 are not cutting it and they're out, because this is our culture and this is how we build it. And if you can't live up to that standard and those rules and guidelines, then you're not a fit. And I think that this goes back to like similar to the principles of raising a child. Children learn through action, not what you say, it's what you do. And if I'm constantly reinforcing by my actions that I'm going to build this company with a certain culture, then I think that's just going to continue to attract high-end talent and continue to lead to the success of the company as it grows. So yeah, just a thought for y'all as y'all are working on your own businesses and growing your own companies, just to set the principles at the beginning and always maintain those no matter how large it gets. because that's where a lot of the bigger companies start to fall off and lose their momentum. So that's it for me this week. I hope that you enjoyed the video. As always, if you ever want to hear my opinions on anything or hear me talk about anything specific, just reach out, comment down below what you'd want to hear about, whether it be business building, personal development, tax tips, whatever it may be, and just let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed a little glimpse of the hometown visit, and as always, never stop your relentless pursuit of continuous improvement.
I